Harry, what did we learn about the Republican Party this week on this issue?
Lots of nervousness, and then because you saw Mike Pence, Jeb Bush, Hutchinson, good politicians, people who won a lot of elections, all this week had to change and move their position on an issue because and fast, like Jeb Bush in 48 hours. You learn also that the Republican Party has always had the evangelical wing, which focuses on abortion, gay marriage, like that, versus the business wing, and those groups are usually not in conflict, but there was a real conflict this week, and you saw the business part of it really won, and evangelicals are very angry about that and feel like this was a weakening of their movement more broadly.
You know, Amy, I tell you, I've been hearing this from evangelicals for some time. They just feel as if a lot of Republicans pay them lip service, and this is more proof that when the going gets tough, the first part of the Republican constituency that gets abandoned, evangelicals.
Well, and you saw Ted Cruz making that case. Exactly.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is
his whole strategy.
You know, look at abortion, it's the same thing, they feel that way.
But here's the point. The tipping point has been reached, and that tipping point is done, which is this is not an issue in which Republicans can win. They could a few years ago, they can't now. And even when you look at evangelical younger folks, they have moved on this issue too. So, you know, if we took everybody over the age of 50 and just moved them out of this country, this wouldn't be an issue at all, even for younger evangelicals.
Oh, there's an idea.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
The Republican Party, though, better that they having this debate now than in 2016, obviously.
Oh, that is the definition of the bright side.
Yes.
I mean, I agree with Amy. I think it was a very bad week for the Republican Party. I really do on a larger scale. I mean, I can see why for Governor Jindal it makes some sense to go the route he's going. He wants to curry favor with that evangelical base, and it's consistent with his political beliefs. But, you know, as Amy says, this corner's been turned with the Republican Party. Where it found itself this week is behind the curve of the society, behind the curve of history. And you saw that in the reaction of businesses who came out immediately because they understand where their markets have gone. And I think for any political party to find itself in that position is really problematic at this stage.
Pragmatism versus conviction, Helene. The problem is in a primary, those voters want conviction. They don't want pragmatism.
I think you raised a perfect point with the primary. I think so much of this was about the primary versus the general election. Yeah. And what you saw here are a lot of politicians who are really much more worried about the primary than I had expected. It's particularly the Jeb Bush flip-flop in particular, I thought.
Now, they argue, by the way, let me put in a caveat in here, because I accused them of flip-flopping. Their folks pushed back and said, wait a minute. You know, had he been allowed to explain himself further on Hugh Hewitt, he would have provided more context. I'm just giving their point of view. They don't believe it's as much of a flip-flop as we in the media portrayed it.
Well, you know, we in the media, how we tend to portray things.